Am I the asshole for ruining a child's life? Today, I started talking to an American mother while in A&E. Her child was interested in the artwork I have on my leather jacket as it's pretty colorful. The mother mentioned that her daughter's name was Grain, so I assumed for a while that she was another mother who wanted something special to call her child. I remarked that it was a unique name and that I'd never met anyone called Grain before. She told me that she's named after her great-grandmother and that it's an Irish name. At this point, the alarm bells are ringing in my head because I've realized that the kid is called Grania, generally pronounced as Gro-Nyuh, or thereabouts. I tried to be very tactful, and I was like, Irish has such an interesting alphabet. How is her name spelled? Irish names can be tricky. The kid is called Grania, not Grain. My partner, who has studied Ireland's political history as part of their dissertation and also the Irish diaspora and its culture around their university city, is stuck somewhere between stifling a laugh and dying of embarrassment on her behalf, so I come up with what I thought was a very positive reply. I said, an old school name and a more modern pronunciation. I think that's a great way to pick names. I would like to point out that I do not like the name Grain for a child, nor do I like the way the pronunciation was butchered, but I was trying to be tactful and positive. She asked what I meant, and I said, well, in Ireland, they typically pronounce it like Gro-Nyuh. Her face went red and said that I shouldn't have said that the pronunciation was wrong in front of the kid because now she's going to grow up knowing that her name is wrong and feel bad about it. I apologized for causing offense and restated that it's a lovely name in both ways and a fantastic nod to her heritage. I said that I'm sure her great-grandmother would be thrilled to be honored by her name being used. I was throwing out just about every positive reinforcement that I could think of, but, to be frank, she was pissed off. She told me that I ruined her daughter's self-esteem, and that her life was ruined by me saying that her existence is wrong. I didn't say that, by the way. I said that her name was pronounced atypically. Grania, for context, was around 2 years old and completely unbothered by the conversation until her mother got angry at me. She was just looking at the pictures on my jacket. The conversation was maybe 5 minutes long, but I managed to ruin this kid's life. Hindsight says I should have kept my mouth shut and waited for somebody else in this city to say something. So, am I the asshole? Edit. Spelling and syntax. Edit 2. Some people have assumed that we're in the USA, we're in the UK, in a city with lots of Irish people, an Irish center, and a great Irish folk scene. Not the asshole. You didn't embarrass the child, you embarrassed the parent, who frankly should be embarrassed she named her kid a name she didn't know how to pronounce. In reality, you did the kid a favor by pointing this out early on so the mom can deal with it. She would have found out eventually, and it could have been when she was old enough to be legitimately embarrassed. Honestly, I'm relieved the kid's name isn't actually spelt straight up, Grain. Can you imagine the hell kids would give her when she's older? Grain's not invited because the party is gluten-free. Not the asshole. Look, not the asshole, but also what were you trying to achieve? Mum acted like a total weirdo about your comments, but I just feel like it probably came across like a thinly veiled dig. I used to have a colleague named Sean, family name. Having only emailed before meeting, I assumed their name would be pronounced Sean, but it turns out they go by Sion mostly because in a country where Welsh isn't common no one ever got it right and they just gave up. If Grania lives in America, they are likely going to get Grain or at best Gra-ihn for most of their life. OMG. I had to send this post to my friend in Ireland who is also a Grania rolling on the floor laughing. Not the asshole kid couldn't care less if it tried and mother for 2 years never bothered to find out how it sounds in Gaelic. Honestly, I get your husband who nearly bursted laughing. Not the asshole. I am so sorry if this is insensitive, but I started to laugh. You digging yourself deeper and deeper, the mother getting angrier and angrier, and your partner trying so hard to not laugh. You didn't do this to be mean, but damn, good save. Too bad mum was too wrapped up in her hissy fit lol. You did not ruin anything. Just out of curiosity, did this happen in Ireland? Because if that is the case, I really hope she has some blood pressure pills, ha 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 ha. Am I the asshole for bringing my daughter to a child-free wedding? Hi everyone, I'm a 19-year-old mom to my beautiful 2-year-old daughter, Amelia. Just a bit of backstory. Last year, I was asked to be a bridesmaid in a family friend's wedding. I was thrilled and immediately said yes, even though it was a child-free event. I had arranged for a babysitter, but about a week before the wedding, she informed me that she would no longer be in the city and couldn't watch my daughter. Given the short notice, I approached the bride and asked if I could bring Amelia to the wedding, as I didn't have time to find another trusted babysitter. My daughter is overall a very easygoing baby. She's comfortable with people and happy as long as she's fed. The bride knew this since she'd watched my daughter on multiple occasions before, and she happily agreed, saying that having Amelia there would make the wedding photos even more special. The wedding was going smoothly, though I noticed a few stares from the groom's parents. Amelia stayed with my sisters for most of the day, but during the reception, I took her with me to congratulate the couple. As I approached with Amelia in my arms, the groom's mother suddenly commented, "You shouldn't have brought a baby to a child-free wedding, especially when she doesn't fit the family." I was completely taken aback. For context, my daughter is mixed. I'm half white and half Hispanic, and her father is black. I've been called whitewashed because I'm not in contact with my Hispanic family, so I knew exactly what she meant by saying my daughter didn't fit the family. The bride looked shocked, and the groom immediately stood up and led his parents away. Taking this as my cue, I decided it was time to leave. I made the rounds to say goodbye to everyone and put Amelia in her stroller. As I was leaving, the bride came over to apologize for her in-laws' behavior. I was upset, but I knew it wasn't her fault, so I simply wished her luck and left. Now, about a week after the wedding, I got tagged in a Facebook post, strange, because I don't use Facebook. The post read, "I'm outraged that my grandchildren weren't allowed at this event, but when a teen mother who couldn't be responsible enough to leave her child with the father brings her baby, it's perfectly fine." The post was from the groom's mother. To make things worse, she's also been telling family members that I'm lying about what she said regarding my daughter's appearance. So now I'm wondering, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Sounds like the groom's mother was upset by the "no kids" policy and wrongly took it out on you. It also sounds like the groom's mother is a dim-witted racist dingus. Oh, not the asshole. I opened this thinking I might vote differently. It's not cool to just swan into a child-free wedding with a kid, but you had responsibly made arrangements that fell through, then correctly asked for permission to bring your daughter. That permission was generously given by the bride. It was not the groom's mother's place to decide who could and could not attend. Given the nasty things she said on that day, and the drama she's so determined to stir up online, it is very obvious that the groom's mom is the asshole in this situation. You did your best in a rough situation. She, on the other hand, only seems able to do her worst. Not the asshole. Bride said it was okay. And groom apparently agreed based on the fact he took his parents out of the situation. Those are the only two people who get a say. Not the asshole. You had childcare that backed out. You cleared it with the bride who had no problem with it. This is absolutely none of the mother's business. I'm also guessing the child-free rule was probably set because of mother of groom's grandchildren. Not the asshole. But to be honest, part of me really want to say no assholes here because I kinda think the grandmother is justified in being upset, but she should have been upset with the bride and not you. Because it is a little messed up. The grooms, I assume, nieces and nephews couldn't come, but the bride's friend-child can. Side note. I am also curious if she simply meant your child isn't family and this wasn't about race. Nah, but if I was the mill I would have been upset. The kids who are related to the groom were not allowed to attend, while some kid who is not related to the bride was allowed. Am I the asshole for telling my friend I won't be inviting her out anymore? So my boyfriend tells me I am not the asshole, but I feel like I may be. So I 23 have a friend I'll call Mary who's 22. She and I worked together and became friends. Well, this past Saturday, I invited her out with my friend group to go to a local amusement park that goes all out for Halloween. Mary asks if she can bring her kids, a 5-year-old boy and an 18-month-old girl. Everyone involved tells her it's really not a good idea as this park and its haunted attractions are not geared towards children and we're planning on being there until it closes, which is midnight. She seems to accept this but asks repeatedly throughout the week leading up to Saturday, and she is again told no. Well, Saturday arrived and as you can guess, she brought her kids. Other people in our group asks her why and she just shrugged, saying she thought the kids would have fun. They didn't. Her son got scared within about 10 minutes of us getting into the park and began to cry, begging to go home, to which Mary tells him to calm down and he'll have fun eventually. We get in line for the first haunted house and her son again starts to cry, saying he doesn't want to go into the house. Mary then asks myself if I'll stay and watch her son and daughter so she can go into the haunted house. I tell her no and that this is why we told her not to bring her kids. She gets upset and drags her very scared child through the haunted house. He had a meltdown and had to be carried out. This repeats through every single haunted house we attempted to go through. Around 11:30, my boyfriend pulls me aside and tells me that he can't take any more of the screaming, crying, and we try to break off to find a place to calm down. Mary sees this and leaves her son and daughter with us while she runs off to go on a ride. Her son gets scared by an actor chasing people with a chainsaw and has an epic meltdown. I'm doing the best I can to console him, but I am rapidly running out of patience. Finally his mom comes back and I all but shove her son back into her arms. I tell Mary that my boyfriend and I were leaving along with the rest of our group. She gets huffy but agreed. We leave the park and go to Waffle House for dinner. At this point it's midnight and both kids are extremely tired and upset. They cry all through dinner and Mary did nothing to calm them down. Finally at the end of my rope, once we get out of the restaurant I lose my temper. I tell Mary that this is why she was told not to bring her kids to this event and that I will not be inviting her back out again if she can't follow the rules of the group. Mary got upset and has since blocked me and the other people who had greeted with me. No one in the group agreed with Mary, but they all did say that I didn't need to say anything about it to her and I didn't need to tell her I wasn't inviting her out again. Am I the asshole, eh? Not the asshole, and she's a shitty mom. NTA, they all did say that I didn't need to say anything about it to her and I didn't need to tell her I wasn't inviting her out again. If you and the others in the group don't say anything, what's to stop her from repeating this behavior? She might want to also put more consideration towards her children and other people she hangs out with, as opposed to putting her own wants first. Not the asshole. Not only is Mary an inconsiderate friend, she's a cruel parent. Those poor kids. Sad face. Not the asshole. Honestly, I would have ditched Mary long before you did. I would have told her that you and your boyfriend are not going to be a scared, screaming child all night and Mary deserves any nightmares those kids may have over the next few weeks because of her actions. And I most definitely would not have sat either her at the Waffle House. Those poor children. You said you were not going to invite her. You did not say no one else could. And I bet those sticking up for her will soon get tired of Mary bringing her children. Not the asshole. Yes, you did have to say something. The rest of the group is too chicken shit to confront her after she ruined the experience for Evie1. And I do mean Evie1. Kids. Hated it. You. Hated it. Group friends. Not happy at all. Your husband. Had to put his foot down to leave. She dragged everyone through a cringy, cruel, long night of her kids being scared and sad. She shouldn't ever be invited again. And she should know exactly why. Since she is ultra dense and selfish to boot. I am rapidly running out of patience. That gave me a chuckle. I was thinking that there should be plenty of patience in this environment, assuming you're a trauma surgeon or a cardiologist. Anyway, Def not the asshole, just really atrocious parenting by Mary, as well as bad social skills, ignoring people repeatedly telling her they didn't want her to bring her kids on this outing. Also, pretty bad take by the friends who are suggesting you should just not invite her and not tell her why. Not an appropriate way to treat someone who's supposed to be a friend. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's sister she needs to move out or pay rent? I, 27 male, own a 2-bedroom condo in the city. Recently I've started working a job where I'm in a different city MF and only spend the weekend at home. A month ago, my boyfriend, 23 male, asked if his sister, 18 female, who was just starting college could stay with us for a few days while looking for student accommodation. I said okay. As mentioned, I am away MF for work anyway, so it doesn't affect me that much. Fast forward and it's been a month, and his sister still lives at my place rent-free. I had subtly mentioned to my boyfriend a few times that she needs to move out soon, but the answer was always, oh, she's been looking but nothing has worked out yet. This weekend, I finally had enough and told my boyfriend that his sister either moves out this coming week or she better start paying me the same amount she'd pay for student accommodation. I mentioned that I'm feeling taken advantage of, and that if I didn't have a spare bedroom his sister would surely have already found accommodation elsewhere and that I felt like she's just dragging her feet at this point. He said she's family too and I'm too. Calculating, TLDR. Am I the asshole for demanding that my boyfriend's sister, who has lived at my place for a month rent-free while looking for student accommodation, she needs to move out or start paying rent? Not the asshole. I'm going to venture a guess that, even without you funding his sister's lodgings, you pull far more weight than your boyfriend in your relationship. This is an excellent opportunity to see how much respect your boyfriend has for you and how nice he continues to be, or not, the moment you stop being useful to him. I finally had enough and told my boyfriend that his sister either moves out this coming week or she better start paying me the same amount she'd pay for student accommodation. This is completely reasonable. Anybody who says it's not is trying to take advantage of you. I mentioned that I'm feeling taken advantage of, and that if I didn't have a spare bedroom his sister would surely have already found accommodation elsewhere and that I felt like she's just dragging her feet at this point. You're 100% right. It was for a few days, or has he forgotten that? He said she's family too and I'm too. Calculating. LLLLLL, let me guess. He doesn't pay rent either, does he? Sorry op, but if he doesn't, it sounds like you may have 2 leeches instead of just 1. Not the asshole. All these comments are nailing it and I'm just itching for op to answer the top post's questions. How long have they been together? When did he move in? What were the circumstances of his moving in? Is she really his sister? Does he pay rent? Already I feel I know the answer, and if not, then is his trash $1 paying for all of the utilities because for a place that size it isn't nearly enough to cover appropriate rent for him alone, let alone his sister. Girl, the utilities. Right now you're a house guest in your own home. Frankly, I'd make her leave regardless of what option she goes with. If she chooses to stay and pay rent, it'll have to be after she has formally left the premise and returns only as the rental agreement stipulates. It's your home, so you have every right to decide who is living there. Plus, you were misled when your boyfriend initially said she'd only be staying for a few days. Not the asshole. And you're not married to him, so she's not family. Stand your ground. Not the asshole. She is. She's using her loving brother to take advantage of you. Asking for the same as student accommodation is not in any way unreasonable.